What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Jav here, one of your hosts from the Real Fan Review. Today with me, we got my brother B.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing?
Yes, sir. And we got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, man. We're the three of us tonight. No Sanj. Hopefully, Sanj will be back next week. Sanj, heal up, my brother, if you're watching or listening. But this week, ladies and gentlemen, the three of us will be talking about What If, episode number 6, which is what if Killmonger saved Tony? I think it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about that one. And then we're also going to talk about the MCU rankings, right? Because me, Al, Sanj, Brandon, maybe about 2 years ago, I would say, we did our own ranking for the MCU for what we thought out of, after Endgame, what we thought the ranking should be for all the movies, but we never updated it with the Black Widow or with the Shang-Chi trailer there and the Shang-Chi movie. So we'll see where we're at with the MCU rankings today. And I'm going to ask a question about, the MCU shows as well, see if those guys want to add those into the rankings. But we're going to start the podcast off today talking about the MCU's next show, Hawkeye. So, Hawkeye trailer just got released last week, man. Pretty interesting. Looks like we're doing a series during Christmas time. Hawkeye's family's back, thank goodness, after Endgame's unsnapping.
Yeah.
Al, what was your thoughts?
Re-snapping?
The re-snapping? Because they did like
two.
Because
a lot of snaps.
Hulk did a snap. Thanos did 2 snaps.
Yeah.
Iron Man did a snap again. So, Al, man, what was your thoughts on that Hawkeye trailer, man? Something you like to see, or what's going on?
I mean, I'm going to watch it, but I'll be honest. I think this is the first time a trailer really didn't hook me for the show. I'm curious to see the whole story with Kate Bishop, I think is the girl.
That's it.
Yeah, how she plays into the show. How she becomes the new Hawkeye and so forth. But I don't know. It didn't really catch me. I mean, it looks good. They look like they did a good job with, presenting the show. But in terms of the story, I'm not hooked. I don't know. Maybe it was because I was never really a big fan of Hawkeye, even in the movies. So we'll see how that plays out. But, I'm still obviously going to watch the show to see how it impacts the other shows, the movies that are coming. Does it factor into any of the movies? Because remember, there was a big insinuation for the show at the end of Black Widow. So see how that plays out. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm not really excited to wait because it was in November, right? Or
well, I mean,
November.
around Christmas.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So that way it ends. I believe it'll end around Christmas time. So it'll be kind of on par with the show series trying to be home before Christmas. He's trying to be. So we'll see how that goes, man. I mean, Brandon, the Hawkeye comic book that this is based off of, where he does teach Kate Bishop or passes on the Hawkeye name to Kate Bishop, is one of the most popular comic book stories out there. It's one of the top popular stories, and it's kind of getting its I guess its theme and its history from there. What's your thoughts on the trailer and how that plays along all together?
I knew the comic book influence for the show, and like you said, like it's a great comic book. Introducing Kate Bishop and who's going to become a future Young Avenger. It's just setting her up to be the new Hawkeye in a sense, but I agree with Al in terms of the trailer wasn't like inspiring, I would say. Like it looked very fun, and it does look very I don't know the name of the actor who plays Clint Barton. I'm blanking on his name.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner. Like it looks very Jeremy Renner, but doesn't strike me as a Hawkeye show. Right? If that makes any sense. Like Jeremy Renner is a really fun guy. And the trailer looks like a fun guy shooting arrows with someone who's also fun at shooting arrows. Like it just seems like an interesting show. And then and it's only 6 episodes. So you take into the fact that other shows have been 6 episodes, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier was 6 episodes, but like you try and take in the story and what the supposed theme is, and it just doesn't feel like something that's gonna be 6 episodes. Like it feels like almost the winter special kind of a thing. You know, like it. I don't know. I think I need another trailer. Like I don't think this trailer was good enough.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to take the opposite view on the trailer because I watched it like 2 or 3 times, the trailer. I won't say I watched it over and over like I've done many other trailers before, but I think it also goes with the fact that who we're dealing with is Hawkeye. You know what I mean? Like he's not this fantastical, wizard or has these superpowers or super strong. He's you and me with bow and arrows with some talent. You know what I mean? So
I mean, but like think about it, like with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, Falcon was just a guy with wings. You know.
True.
Yeah. I mean, same thing with Black Widow. I mean, she was just a spy like him, and the movie still played out well.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the show is going to play out, especially that scene where they're in the street and they both pull out their bows.
You made that sound so terrible. They both pull out their bows. Yeah, I'm willing to give it a chance because, I can't expect too much from Hawkeye because of who his character is. He's not this superpowered person. He's always had this like kind of like rough attitude that he talks like a dick sometimes, and on the to all the characters. Like I remember one time he threatened Quicksilver from the MCU. He's like, I just gotta let it go. I just what was it? No one will ever know, he says.
Yeah.
No one would know. No one would ever know. We would know, Hawkeye. We would know. But listen, there's a lot of, on top of this show being released, there's a lot of rumors out there. There's talks of, what was it? Oh man, what's his name from Spider-Man comic books? Big guy, white suit, tuxedo from Daredevil.
Oh, Kingpin.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk about Kingpin possibly being in the show.
Yeah, Daredevil too.
Yeah, so I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Because I didn't see anything in the trailer they didn't even hint at who the major villain is or show who the villain is. We got a bunch of people in jumpsuits, but that's about it.
That's Hawkeye for you.
Basically, yeah. But and that goes back to like I'm just interested in seeing what story they tell because I think the big lead was and the big draw to the story is his past is coming back from when he was Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so who from his past is coming back to him? And what from that past was not a factor then, but now is a huge factor for a 6-episode arc.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting, man, because you never know who he did in. Because remember, he took out the Yakuza. Who else did he take out in those 5 years that he was quote unquote suffering?
Everyone,
right? So, I mean, anything you're looking forward to the most, Brandon, besides the dog?
I'm just hoping, like everything. I'm hoping it's an awesome story. I hope it's a great introduction to Kate Bishop because I'm a really big fan of Haley Steinfeld. So I'm excited to see how this entrance goes along and what their story does.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. Same here, man. So, you can hear the three of us, I guess the trailer didn't really pump us up like that, but we're all interested in seeing the show. And it's 6 hours or 6 episodes at least, which makes it in total like a movie kind of thing. So this is kind of like Jeremy Renner's chance at putting Hawkeye to himself and playing it out on the screen for us there. So it should look fantastic as well, just like all the other shows have. I don't think Marvel has let us down with anything so far. So I'm willing to give it a shot and can't wait to see it, man. So once we get another trailer or that first episode of Hawkeye comes out, we'll definitely talk about it like we have been talking about all these different MCU shows, MCU movies, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it'll give us something to tear up or appreciate. Yeah, man. So listen, there wasn't really a lot of big movies came out. I think Cry Macho came out. I don't think none of us want to hear about Cry Macho. So
nah.
And the only other thing that kind of came out with some kind of semblance of excitement or something cool has been the What If series from Marvel as well. So it looks like we're just gonna be talking about Marvel today. So the What If Brandon says all good. Look at the background. Which, by the way, shout out to us being on YouTube, so you can see Brandon's background. But yeah, what if episode 6 came out, which was, I believe, what if Killmonger saved Tony, or Tony never became Iron Man, I guess you could say. And it was a pretty interesting episode, man. I mean, Brandon, what was your take on episode 6 of What If? Because I kind of feel like this one didn't leave us so well as the last 3 episodes kind of did.
Yeah. I thought the thought behind this episode was very interesting. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan for returning as Killmonger. I thought that was awesome that he came back to do the voice, because I just feel like he was the most appropriate to do it. The idea behind it, I liked until the twist happened, which I think we all knew was coming. I don't know. Like, I felt the story was going one way, where Killmonger was going to end up becoming Iron Man, and kind of do his own thing. And then when the twist happens, with Black Panther, I was like, oh, we're kind of getting the same story just 10 years earlier. And I'm like, yeah. And I agree with the ending. Like, this seems like one, we talked about, we don't know what's happening the last 4 episodes of this season,
Right.
And I feel like this is going to be one of the episodes that they come back to and do a part 2 of.
Yeah, they're definitely leaving some of these episodes on cliffhangers. So it's kind of like weird, because we're seeing something different, a different take on what could have happened if a different decision was made somewhere. But at the same time, they're leaving it kind of like an open-ended ending, where we can either figure out what happens on our own, or they're going to come back to it at some point. But it's kind of crazy there, man. So I mean, Al, what was your thoughts on the episode there for yourself?
It honestly surprised. This was, for me, it was a bad week with Marvel, in the sense that it wasn't my favorite episode. It wasn't even, I would honestly put it at the bottom of all the episodes so far.
Yeah.
Only because I didn't see the point of the plot. Like, Killmonger saves Tony, all with the scheme of getting into Wakanda. But they took him back anyway. Like, there wasn't a big resistance. He didn't have to overly prove anything. He had to fight the drones and so forth when they came, but that was just because they came. The uncle was taking him back in anyway. Mm-hmm. So it kind of defeated the whole point of, setting up the trap, killing the original Black Panther, and coming in, and like there was nothing about what he did that got the result differently than if he had just gone there, from the way because the ending was he becomes Black Panther and he's defending Wakanda. So other than showing up, and becoming Black Panther, if that was if that was his main goal, I don't see a reason for doing everything that led up to that.
Right, Agreed. He could have still brought Claw the same way he brought Claw in to get in. He could have did the same thing, except he had this whole plan to kind of show that he can be a leader and is a part of them. I gotta say, there's a couple things I didn't like about the episode. Also, the one thing is, like you guys just hinted at, was the fact that he did the same thing just to get to the same place, but just in a different way 10 years earlier, or whatever the case may be. The thing that bothered me on it was he still knows that King T'Chaka, is it?
Yeah.
He still knows King T'Chaka killed his dad, and he didn't do anything. I thought they were going to flip the switch and say he kills him.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for him to be the Black Panther.
Right. And when that didn't happen, I'm like, so he's going to just live this lie like he doesn't know, but he knows. But now he's showing them that he could be a part of their team. Like, I don't get that whole, what was all that stuff about? They would have let you back in no matter what. You know what I mean? But one of the other things that definitely I did not like about the episode, and maybe it's because I'm still a little too sensitive with Chadwick Boseman's passing, is how do you kill the Black Panther, even in cartoon form, after this? What?
How do you kill Tony Stark 6 times?
Yeah, they want us to know that Iron Man is dead.
We're gonna keep doing it.
Dude,
Did you know he's dead?
I did not like that whatsoever. You know what I would have liked if Tony had won that fight and became evil or bad or like vindictive and something, because I thought they were going somewhere with Tony, you know, with him becoming friends with Killmonger and having this whole different take on, you know, how to handle, you know, his weapons and stuff like that. But when they went with the route where, you know, they looked for the can't think of the name right now for the metal that's in Wakanda.
Vibranium.
Vibranium. When they went to go look for the vibranium, I'm like, oh, they're going back to these old treads. Now, granted, it was cool to see some of those same things we saw in the movies, like the salvage yard in Africa, where they went in Ultron to go meet with Claw. They still met with Claw in this one too, and to hear some of the same voice actors, you could definitely tell who Claw was as well. You know, so it was cool, but at the same time, like I said, there was just a couple of choices where I just didn't agree. You know, killing Rhodey, I don't think that was necessary.
Killing everybody.
Yeah, but they didn't even acknowledge Rhodey died at the end. Like they just wanted to avenge T'Challa and Tony, but there was no mention of Rhodey. Like he was like, who's he?
Fuck him. Fuck him.
Besides seeing some of these actors again, or well, hearing these actors and seeing them on the cartoon screen kind of thing, the one thing that I thought was really cool was the Queen being the general. That was kind of awesome.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, that played out well. Yeah.
And that would make a lot of sense if she's in charge of Dora Milaje also. So that would have been awesome to see. If they could do that in Wakanda Forever, that would be amazing. To have the Queen lead or fight or be a part of the team would be amazing. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think the story was somewhat interesting, but it kind of treaded the same tropes and same things we've seen already. Just a different way of looking at it, a different take. But I think everything still ended the same way. And then that ending again with Pepper Potts. And you know, what's the name of the sister there?
Shuri.
With Shuri, you know, it's just like, all right, well, what happens from here? Because Shuri clearly thinks something's up, and you know, she says she knows because Tony's a master or really good with electronics and stuff. That he figured out a way to kind of show that Killmonger had something to do with this stuff. I don't know, man.
I think the only like part that I liked about the episode was when Killmonger accepted the powers of the Black Panther and he visited and T'Challa was there and it was like, was it worth it? You know, kind of. He kind of pulled the reverse Soul Stone. You know, like, was it worth it?
No, what I liked about the episode was the Tony arc in it. Like they showed that if he didn't have that life threat that occurred there, that he would have stayed the same person he was. You know, I agree with you, Hav. Like I would have liked to have seen if they had gone more of the he becomes evil or he's, you know, steered in that direction of being more of a villain than a hero by being associated with Killmonger and, you know, being glamorized more towards the killing and the weaponry aspect. But in terms of like the reason why Killmonger was able to take him even with a robot defending him was because he had no reason to learn how to defend himself. So I like the fact that they stood true to that he was basically this rich playboy. You know, he never really grew up because the event that made him grow up never happened.
Right. Yeah. How he learned to be selfless and to do all the things that he did. He still had his quips. And whoever's I mean, it's definitely not Robert Downey Jr., but whoever's doing is doing an okay job. He's doing an okay job.
Yeah, all right.
It's not great, but it's okay.
I think this was the one episode where the voice actors didn't really do it for me.
Yeah.
We got most of the Wakandans and Michael B. Jordan. They're like, the budget.
Too crazy, man. I think some of these actors didn't want to do it, or they're too expensive, or maybe had other projects going on. I know Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. are not in it. Definitely, those two are not in it.
Yeah.
And I think Black Widow wasn't in it either. That was in Scarlett Johansson.
No, that wasn't.
Johansson. I did it again, Johansson.
She was probably
man. Yeah, man. So kind of crazy, man. So listen, man, we're looking forward to episode 7. No clue what's episode 7 about. None whatsoever. So looking forward to it. I just know that the trailer that they had for the mid-season showed Ultron again. So I'm looking forward to seeing Ultron. Hopefully Spader comes back and does a voice again. So hopefully we see that. I saw a commercial this weekend watching football that had the What If characters in it, and Thor was in a car. He was in a Mazda. using his hammer, swinging it around. So, looking forward to seeing Thor, I guess. But looks like there's a couple more episodes, maybe something that ties it all together. Was the Watcher like super clear to see this episode from you guys?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he didn't get involved as much as he did the last 2 episodes, but he was definitely there. Like, he was much more than just that outline with the glowing eyes.
Brandon's doing super weird stuff right now. It also looks like you're floating in space, Brandon, by the way.
I'm the Watcher. I'll never interfere.
Man.
I'll never interfere.
Yeah.
But now, does he ever like in the comics, does he ever really interact with a storyline? Because I heard that there was one storyline where a Watcher impacted his universe, and that's what caused some event.
I don't remember that, but he does get involved a lot more than the show seems to lead on. Like they'll literally run into him on his planet and be like, "Oh shit, I'm watching right now."
Yo, dude, he gave Doctor Strange a reaming. He's just like,
no, you don't understand.
Not interfere. He talked to him the way I talk to my son when he disobeys sometimes. Like he's like, I can't interfere, and I will not. I still think that's one of the craziest things in this whole series was Doctor Strange was actually talking to the Watcher, and the Watcher responded back and scolded him.
Stop that! Oh, you did it to yourself. Live with the choices.
Too crazy, man. Too crazy, guys. So listen, man, that's our review there for What If episode 6. Guys, what did you think of this episode? I'm curious to know what you guys out there thought about episode 6, because it kind of felt like it was a letdown for a couple people besides just us 3 here. But, let us know. If you're watching on YouTube, comment below. Let us know what you thought about that episode 6 for What If. Or if you're listening on your podcast app, email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com, REEL real. Let us know what you thought about episode 6, man. Just want to see if we're crazy and everybody else loved it and we did it. Oh, man. So listen, this is going to be somewhat of a shorter podcast this weekend because, again, we're waiting for next week to really dig into the Venom recap there. We're gonna do the Venom prep next episode there. So we're all gonna watch Venom and just talk about that and see what we're gonna get ready for Let There Be Carnage the following week. So listen, we're gonna do go for it out.
Y'all thinking that Tom Hardy or Venom is in No Way Home?
I saw the hat
out there.
Yeah, they took it off real quick. So
they took that picture off real quick.
Wait. What's the picture?
Tom Hardy put up a pic of him wearing the No Way Home hat that anybody involved with the movie gets. So everybody was speculating as to if he's not in that movie, why's he got one of those hats?
Oh, he got a production hat. And then apparently the screening of Venom 2 in the UK blew people away, and they said that the end credit scenes are crazy.
And he had to beg people not to share what they saw in the end credit. He said, let the end credit stay here.
Wow. Talk about building up the hype for 2 weeks, guys. Thanks. Thanks. That's 2 weeks we have to wait till see that Carnage movie. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll get ready for that, man. That's going to be awesome, man. So listen, let's get into this MCU ranking thing because, you guys have watched a lot of these movies with me. So even just talking about the MCU just brings back a lot of memories for the last 10, 15 years. So just curious to know because we did see Black Widow. We did see also Shang-Chi. I'm trying to think what else came out in that time period, but that's pretty much it because after Endgame was Spider-Man Far From Home, and I think we did our rankings back then for Far From Home. So let me just go real quick, Al. I'll tell you what you have here for your top 23 movies, and that includes Spider-Man Far From Home. So, Al, your top five was Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Spider Man Far From Home, Captain America Civil War, and The Avengers, the first one. B, your top five: Captain America Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, Black Panther. Mine was Civil War, Infinity War, The Winter Soldier, Endgame, and Black Panther. The Black Panther. That's it, the Blank Panther.
The blank.
The Black Panther there. So, with those top fives there, just curious to know, does Black Widow or Shang-Chi crack your top five, Al?
No, honestly, neither one of them breaks the top five.
Right.
But I would definitely say Shang-Chi definitely comes into the top 10.
Top 10? How about for you, Brandon?
No.
Brandon says no.
I can't. Man, you're lucky if Black Panther. I mean, if Black Widow makes the top 50, man. Like,
yeah,
doo-doo garbage.
Even for myself, you know, I see my top five, and yeah, there are a lot of the Avenger team ups except for Black Panther, and for Al, you know, he got Spider-Man Far From Home up there, Al. So it's kind of crazy, but you know, for the most part though, it's pretty much the same thing we have for each other's there. Now, for me personally, Shang-Chi does not crack that top five at all. Neither Black Widow's not near it, this top five. So let's go into our number 6 through 10. Al, you have Iron Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, the First Avenger, and the Winter Soldier to round out your top 10. B, you have Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, Avengers 1, Thor Ragnarok, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 to rank up your top 10 right there. For me, my 6 through 10 is going to be Avengers, Spider-Man Homecoming, Iron Man, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Captain America, the First Avenger. So again, a lot of similar ones in the same 6 through 10 numbers there. Listen, I'll talk for myself here. I don't think Shang-Chi cracks the top 10. And Black Widow definitely is not in the top 10 for me, nowhere near the top 10. But Shang-Chi is not there. How about for you guys, man? Top 10 there, Brandon. Does Shang-Chi crack, move anything down here?
Shang-Chi is number 10 on the list. We're moving Guardians down one.
Wow. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 moves down. So you like Shang-Chi more than Guardians of the Galaxy?
I do.
And Thor Ragnarok, you still Thor Ragnarok is too funny?
You know what? I agree. I'll put them like a tie, but we'll say Shang-Chi 10 just to make it easy.
So Shang-Chi makes your top 10. I'm curious to know, man. How about for you, man? Shang-Chi in your top 10?
Just rehearing that top 10 for me, I think I would move. I would
Captain
remove
Marvel.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I would remove Captain Marvel,
Uh-huh.
and then move Shang-Chi to 10.
Like remove, like get rid of her.
No. No. I don't dislike the movie that much.
You know what?
But when I'm thinking of, because I'm just thinking of in terms of, especially since it's an origin story and compared to Captain Marvel as an origin story, I just think Shang-Chi did a much better job of introducing us to the character, their background, their motivation, the world that their story takes place in, making us want to root for the character, and their friends. Like, you're rooting for everybody. Aquafina's character, everybody. You're rooting for them at the end of Shang-Chi.
Right.
And it had a better impact of doing that than Captain Marvel did. I still think Captain Marvel, unlike a lot of people, I still think it's a good movie, but I would have to say this one bumped it out of the top 10.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. So, I mean, for me, it was close to taking out Captain America, the First Avenger, but I just really, really do love that story, and also Spider-Man Far From Home, I think was done really well. Spider-Man Homecoming and Iron Man. So for me, it just missed out on that top 10. So actually, for me, Shang-Chi is number 11 on my list. It's above Avengers Age of Ultron, Falcon and the Winter Soldier doesn't count. That's another topic for another day. It's above Avengers: Age of Ultron. It's above Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, Captain Marvel, Thor Ragnarok, Ant-Man, so far and so forth, man. So yeah, so for me, Shang-Chi's right there at 11. So it's definitely in the top half of MCU movies for me. I really enjoy Shang-Chi, and I keep thinking like I want to see it again in the theaters. I just don't have enough time to watch everything and go see that extra movie again for the second time. So I'm probably gonna wait for it to come out on Blu-ray real soon or on Disney Plus, and I'll probably catch it one night that I'm just home and I'm able to put it on there. Have you either of you guys seen it more than once or not yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet, but I want to.
Yeah.
Right? I want to also, man, but I just again finding time is kind of hard lately. So yeah, man. So let's see now. Now, if I had to ask you guys, I mean, because Black Widow, I think we all kind of just liked it, but where do you guys kind of put Black Widow in towards the bottom half, or is it somewhere still like in the top 15 for you guys?
Thor: Dark World.
Wow, so on the bottom there. All right, so we'll go for the
Way
bottom.
bottom.
We'll go for the bottom for you, Brandon. There. And Al, how about yourself, man? Where would you say your Black Widow lies? Like more in the middle, more towards the bottom?
More towards, yeah, closer to the bottom. And not because, see, and I think the fault in that lies more with when they released it than the actual movie itself. Had they released this closer to around the time that it's supposed to take place in the sequence of movies, I probably would have liked it a lot more. But it lost its impact. We already know she dies at the end of it, during Endgame, so we're not curious as to her outcome. The impact of all these relationships we saw her build with her previous family was for nothing, because we know there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing that comes from it. So a lot of the impact that everything from the movie should have had was lost because we already know what happens to the main character.
Yeah.
So and that was, and like I said before the movie, one of my biggest fears was that movie was going to be more of a setup for what's
Yelena.
Yelena, yeah, her, than telling of Black Widow. And I feel that because of the way they had to end the movie and alluding to her being in Hawkeye,
Right.
that's exactly what it did. I left that movie feeling more they were setting her up than they were telling Natasha's story.
Gotcha. B, do you kind of fall in that same thing where you feel like you not value less, but you probably just didn't like the movie as much because the movie came out later than it should have, quote unquote, should have. It should have came out right after the Civil War movie.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I also believe that this movie should have came out even earlier than that. When we were world building, I understand why you wouldn't give her a movie directly after Iron Man 2 and maybe Avengers, but sometime in between Avengers and, Age of Ultron, there was ample opportunity there to give her a movie. They just didn't think it would succeed, and that's a shame on them. But now but like Al said, like, yeah, this movie should have came out between Civil War and Infinity War, but even then, like, you would have gotten a character arc just to lose it in 2 movies. Like, with the whole thing with her family, like the whole story itself, just while it was great having, the guy who played Hopper,
David Harbour.
Yeah, David Harbour, Yelena, while having all those characters are great for world building, you didn't give Natasha justice, right? Like, there was no credence in her having her own movie because it wasn't about her. It was about her having a family, but in 2 movies, what would be the point of that family? So like,
yeah,
no matter where you release this movie in that timeline, it didn't make sense. Whereas if it was released earlier before Age of Ultron, even if they didn't do the same storyline, or even if they did, it would have a better effect because you would at least had time for her to grow. Like, even if Yelena was introduced earlier and wasn't brought back into the fold until after Endgame, you'd be like, oh shit, they're bringing her back. Red Skull was gone for a decade.
Right.
So if they had brought in Yelena 7 years ago, we'd be just as crazy to see her at the end of Infinity War or Endgame. You know, so like,
Yeah.
I think the opportunity they just missed it.
Yeah, I hear you, man, because I feel you guys on the emotional impact of, knowing that she's already dead, or these people don't matter, or what's happening with her is there's no kind of like, well, we know you survived this, so yeah, you could jump out of a building and use a knife to kind of like, do whatever, but yeah, you're gonna be in the next movie because you're already in that movie. Sorry, like I get that. But there's a part of me also that like, if it was a good movie, it would have been a good movie. You know what I mean? Because it's like, even if it sucks that we know what she did, but if they had did it well and things would have happened differently, I think it would have had a more of an impact. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that there were some parts of it that just wasn't done completely well. It was a good movie. Like I got it on 4K here, and I'm watching it the other day. Not bad. It's not bad, but I fell asleep, man.
It just, the same criticisms we gave it when we reviewed it, like everything happened too fast. The whole family sake of it was the second the family came together, the movie was over. It was like, okay, like nothing built, nothing came from it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So let's get to find out where you guys have your Black Widow. Like, how far does she drop? So let's go B. You have in your bottom three Iron Man 3, Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2. Is the Black Widow at least better than those three movies, or would you say it's right with those three movies?
I would say it's better than. I would put it just in front of Thor: Dark World.
All right. So you have Thor. So where Thor Dark World is for your thing, you have Thor Dark World at your 17 spot. So you have Iron Man, Thor Dark World, Doctor Strange. You didn't like the first Avenger, Brandon. You have it there. Then you have Thor, Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 3. So you're saying Iron Man 1, Black Widow, then Thor Dark World?
No, actually, because Avengers is so low, I'll put it right after Avengers. The
So
movie right after Avengers.
So you'll put it in between Thor and Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yep.
Okay, I got you, man. And let's see, Al, for you, your bottom three, Thor Ragnarok is at the end. Iron Man 3, Iron Man 3 is right above that, and Avengers Age of Ultron right above that. That's your bottom three. Is it there or a little bit higher?
Yeah, it would definitely be a little bit higher than those three. Yeah.
All right. So then your movies right above Avengers Age of Ultron in the ascending order. You have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Iron Man 2, Thor Dark World, Incredible Hulk, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Above Ant-Man.
You're like, do I want to say it's better than the Hulk?
All right. Yeah. So then your middle 15 is Doctor Strange. I'm sorry, Thor, Ant-Man, Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 1, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Doctor Strange.
After Ant-Man.
So you put Black Widow right above Thor. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, yeah.
All right. That's cool, man. It's always interesting to see where you guys rank stuff and see things because, again, all film is subjective and we all see things differently, and it's really cool to see that. And it's funny, like Brandon has Thor Ragnarok all the way up here, and then Al's all the way down there. I'm in the middle with Thor Ragnarok, but it's always crazy to see what you guys think of these movies, man. And the other question I was going to ask you guys, because the MCU is just this different animal, it's just this different thing right now, and I'm curious to know, when you guys consider the MCU, do you guys consider the shows, the Disney Plus shows, as their own separate stories and you don't count them towards your MCU ranking? Or do you kind of include it because it is a story part of that universe? Do you include it? Al, what's your take on that?
I wouldn't include them in the rankings only because I feel like they're ancillary to the events of the movies. Like they're meant to fill in the gap, but I don't feel like they're meant to be an actual part of the dialogue. So so I mean I like them, but I would think they would need to be evaluated amongst themselves and separate from the movies than part of the movie storyline.
Gotcha. I don't know. I mean, for me, Brandon, I think that the shows, they really do tie into things. I mean, they haven't tied in like it's like, oh my God, like we haven't seen we haven't seen the new Captain America into these movies yet. We haven't seen those villains, or not the villains, because he turned into a somewhat of a good guy with Agent. What was it? The U.S. Agent. We haven't seen him pop up in any movies. We have seen Yelena pop up. On the in the movies with the what's the girl who was from the Seinfeld, Christine.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Dreyfus, yeah.
Right. So she's the only one that's kind of made the transition between the shows and the movie, but we can kind of see where it's going. So I kind of see where Al's coming from, because it doesn't seem like they really kind of like mesh. It seems like these little outside stories outside of the movies kind of thing. But I think eventually they will link up. So how about for you, Brandon? What's your take? Would you put these shows as part of your MCU ranking, or you kind of leave them just to the movies?
I leave them just to the movies, just because, like, if I consider it, WandaVision alone was basically almost 3 movies worth of Marvel. Like, it was almost as if she had her trilogy in WandaVision just because of the length of the episodes. So, like, and then I also kind of think of it like this is how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should have been, in that sense. Like, this is a show that's carrying on what's happening because of the movies and maybe extending plot that would go into the movies.
Right.
But, should this not exist, I don't find it a problem.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. I guess, like I said, we'll see how these shows play into the movies. Right now, I don't really think they've really applied to each other just yet. I mean, granted, we've seen certain people and certain things show up, but it hasn't been like, oh my God, this is happening because what were the people with the face mask from Falcon and Winter Soldier called?
Fuck it. Oh God, I forget.
Right. I wanted to say the jaw smash, the something smashers, the flag smashers.
It's not like Generation X.
We haven't heard anything about the flag smashers in any of these movies just yet, in Shang-Chi or anything like that. Madripoor didn't come up in Shang-Chi, which I thought it was going to, but it didn't.
Just a flag.
The flag was in the background. So again, I guess when they mix more, maybe we'll revisit this question. But until now, we'll just keep it to the movies on the MCU ranking there. So listen, that is gonna be us for this week. We apologize, guys, but there just was not a lot of news or movies or trailers that came out this week. But we definitely, like I said, next week we're gonna get into the trailers that come out this week that are really big. But we're definitely gonna talk about the Venom recap with a Venom prep to get you ready for Venom Let There Be Carnage next week. And any big important news or any big movies that come out, we'll definitely talk about it. I didn't really see anything that's coming out this week that's going to be big. So more or less, we're going to be doing the Venom prep for the next podcast there. So, listen, if you're not a subscriber or you're not on the playlist for our podcast, make sure you hit the plus symbol on your podcast playlist so that we come to you every week on your phones or on your computer system. And if you're a subscriber on YouTube, or if you're not a subscriber on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and we'll be popping up every time we put an episode up on the screen there for you guys to watch us do the podcast live on the video screen there. So again, coming out of Long Island, New York, we got my brother B.
Adios, everybody.
We got our man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yes, and myself, Hob, saying thank you guys for watching, for listening. And you know what? Why don't you tell us your MCU ranking? Would love to know where you guys put Black Widow and Shang-Chi. Does Shang-Chi make your top 10? Does Shang-Chi make your bottom? How about Black Widow, man? That's going to be on your bottom, right? So let us know. Comment below or email us at therealfanreview@gmail.com. And we'll see you on the next podcast, people. Until next time.